Hey y'all, it's Rick here with Uncommon Communion, recording near the end of a Sunday that was extraordinary, in part because here in Central Ohio, we got a foot of snow. Now, I know compared to some parts, it was a lot worse today. Ice in the south, power outages, more snow up in the north and the northeast. Nevertheless, it was something, and it will be something tomorrow when schools are canceled, and then the rest of this week in the frigid temperatures where the snow's not going anywhere because it's going to be so cold. I want to begin, as we always begin, by recognizing, realizing, celebrating, and affirming that we are always and everywhere in the holy presence of the more. Now, I had planned to write tonight and even thought that maybe I could write today during the day, and it just didn't happen during the day. This evening, I am still struggling with the cold that I was struggling with last week, and I think it may have turned into a sinus infection because I'm feeling worse. Yeah, I'm feeling worse. And especially my eyes are hurting. I struggle with dry eyes and, lack of, the tear ducts, etc. normally. And I think I've really reached a point where something else is going on. So the good news is I am taking time off tomorrow. I don't have to lead as many trainings this week, which is really, really good. So I am going to get a bit of a break. Going to the doctor, that's going to help for sure. And going to get some sleep, excuse me, and definitely take care of myself because this isn't fun. It's not fun. But because my eyes are hurting, I just couldn't sit in front of a screen for long tonight. And therefore, I just want to do this a little bit shorter. I do think this is a good way to communicate something really, really important to you. We've talked about this before, but I want to underscore this for tomorrow and this week. And that is calling your congressional representatives and also your state representatives as well. So, where we are a day after the killing of Alex Preddy, as we are knowing the good man whose last act was to help another person and died as a result of that. What we are seeing today is what we saw today on Sunday is the regime, and we must start calling this a fascist regime, y'all. I read an article in the Atlantic today by a conservative who said he's been really reluctant to do this, because of the weight of the word and fascists in the past. But he says we got to call it what it is because this is what it is. And they are doubling down on the deception, the lying, and creating something that isn't true, right? Saying that he was armed when he was shot and that he was brandishing a weapon, trying to hurt them. The multiple angles, the multiple videos are showing that that is just a lie. And they are lying to provoke. They are lying to cover up their absolute ineptitude. You probably have seen the video where it appears that maybe the supervisor takes the gun and fires it himself into the ground, which freaks everybody out, and they all start shooting like fucking, excuse me, cowboys or something, right? Drunken cowboys. And that's unacceptable. We can do something about it though. And what we can do is call tomorrow our representatives, our senators, everyone that we can. Because this is a critical week, y'all. You probably saw the government is coming up for funding again. And just the end of last week, some Democrats in the House voted with Republicans to advance ICE funding. Well, it's in the Senate now. And the senators, starting from the, I think, pretty weak, maybe pathetic leadership of the Senate, the Democrats are saying, no, we're not going to pass this. And they're going to force a discussion, force a change. They must force a defunding or a modifying, cutting, stopping ICE from doing what they're doing. Accountability must be in place. So, to help call our reps, I want to share with you a couple of things, and then we will read Psalm 26. It's a bit of a shorter one again. Um, there's an app that maybe you've discovered. It's called 5Calls. I'll put a link to the Google Play Store for you. I'll show you what the image, what the icon looks like, and it is super easy, y'all. You register. It's free, of course. You register. You tell it the app where you live, and then it will bring up all of your senators and your representatives, and it will give you scripts. It will let you know things that you should be calling about. You can log them, and it's just really, really simple. I'm also going to put into the notes here an article from, it's been a few months. I put this today as one of my notes. You can, retweet things here on Substack, and I put it out as a note. So maybe you saw it, but it is about the impact that calls have, right? What that means and the impact that it has. And again, y'all, we can email, we can send letters. Those are important. There's a point to those. But when you call and are succinct and reasonable and ask for action, it makes a difference, right? And do not forget, y'all, here in Central Ohio, or in Ohio in general, if you're one of my Ohio subscribers, watchers, listeners, don't forget there's a Senate race that our unelected but appointed Senator John Husted is up against, who will probably be, a powerful former senator, Sherrod Brown. And I think calling Husted's office and saying that you're tempted to vote Democrat or vote against him, that will have an impact. I think we need to say things like that because, Ohio, I think, is going to be in play. The Senate here is going to be in play because by the time the election comes around, in about 280 days ish, it is. I think it's going to be a different environment, and I think, the Dems, which is the only resistance party we have right now, I think we'll be in a place to really gain some control, some power. So that's one thing to do. Another thing you can do is I will put into the notes the Congressional Switchboard number. It's 202-224-3121. I've called this before myself. And they basically ask you where you're from, and they will connect you to your representative, your senator. And if you have to leave a voicemail, that's fine. If you talk to an aide, make sure you get their name so that you can follow up with them. And just know this week, y'all, we have to bombard them by saying this is unacceptable. This has to stop. Accountability for ICE. It has to be done. It has to be done. All right, let's talk about Psalm 26. Again, it's in the same vein as some of the things that we have heard already, some of the Psalms, but this is really more of a plea. A prayer asking grandfather, grandmother for what the psalmist needs and desires and wants. And some of it is revenge against the enemies, as we've talked about, but much of it is something far more, I think, beneficial. So, decide in my favor, grandfather, grandmother, for I have walked a straight path and have never turned away from trusting you. Grandfather, grandmother, search deep within me and purify what you see. Cleanse me from the depths of my heart to the thoughts of my mind. For your love that remains faithful and true is before my eyes. I have walked your path of truth. I do not sit in counsel with those who make worthless plans, nor do I take counsel from the ones who wear false faces. I have no stomach for a gathering of evildoers. I will not sit in a circle of those who follow their bad hearts and broken ways. I will ceremonially wash my hands with pure spring water to show I have done no wrong. Grandfather, grandmother, I will dance with my prayers for all to see in a circle around your sacred fire. I will send my voice to you and sing stories of the wonderful things you have done. Grandfather, grandmother, I love the warm welcome of your sacred lodge, where your shining greatness dwells among us. Do not round me up with the bad-hearted or rope me together with the men of bloodshed, for their hands are filled with evil schemes, their fists with bribes. As for me, I will walk a true and sacred path. So have pity, set me free, and make me whole again. My feet now stand on level ground. In our sacred gatherings, I will sing songs of honor to grandfather, grandmother. Yeah, y'all, it's again similar to what we have heard, but I love that, search me. I have walked this path and purify me. I love that idea, this idea of openness. Yes, I have done what I believe I've needed to do, the psalmist says, but search me. And if I've missed anything, take that from me, right? Reminds me a lot of what we recovering addicts do in the 12 steps. We talk about making a searching and fearless moral inventory, and then admitting to ourselves and another person and our higher power the exact nature of our wrongs. Those are steps 4 and 5. And I think, again, we hear some of that here in the psalmist. And I think that is such a good practice. And so important, again, in these times where we have to look at the purity of our motives, the dedication and the courage that we are able to be given, I believe, from, God, who is the giver of all good gifts. And courage, perseverance, all of those fruits of the Spirit are exactly what we need right now and what comes from God, grandfather, grandmother. All right, y'all, I want to wrap this up because I do need to get to bed. Let's pray the serenity prayer. God, grant us the serenity to accept the things we cannot change, the courage to change the things we can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Thy will, not ours, be done. All right, y'all. Blessing and good. Be bold. Hold fast, y'all, and make those calls. We'll see ya.